So that we get it correctly, today is November the 7th. The Williamson County Highway Commission meeting finds it necessary to protect the health, safety, and the welfare of the public, and in accordance with the extension of the Executive Order 60, the Williamson County Highway Commission will meet this month electronically. The meeting will be broadcast on Channel 3, Charter Channel 192, AT&T Channel 99, United Communications 207. The public may also access the meeting through YouTube at www.com//user/WCTVnet/live. So as I call the roll, will you please acknowledge you're here? We all have to hear each other. I have to hear you and you have to hear me. So we'll begin first. Mr. Tyson.
Tyson here.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Davis here.
Thank you. Mr. Coleman.
Coleman here.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson.
Wilson here.
Great. First item on the agenda today is the approval of the October the 7th minutes. I'll entertain a motion. Please identify.
Today is October 7th, so what minutes are we approving? And I apologize, I don't have an agenda with me at home, so.
You are correct. I misspoke. The approval of the September 2nd, 2020 minutes.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion.
Tyson, so moved.
I heard Tyson moved and Mr. Coleman seconded. Any corrections, additions? I see none. I'll call the roll for the approval of the minutes. Mr. Tyson?
Tyson, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Davis, yes.
Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
And Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
Thank you. The minutes have been approved. The next item we have, any special announcements? Eddie, you have any special announcements or anyone?
No, sir, I do not know of any special announcements.
Thank you. Anyone else? Because we don't have citizen communication aligned with no election and appointments, we have nothing under old business. We'll get right into the new business. And first item on the agenda under new business, Greg Gamble of Gamble Designs Collaborative, presenting a new development at 1190 Lewisburg Pike and options for connecting to Crossway Drive. This is in Mr. Coleman and Mr. Coleman's Highway District and the County Commission District, Hester and Herbert. Mr. Gamble, I see you there with that blue shirt on. You got the memo, so come on in and tell us what you're trying to do.
Right.
I have a brief presentation to inform the Highway Commission of what we're proposing. If I could share my screen.
All right, if you'll hold on a minute, let me get it up on the floor before Mr. Cook jumps all over me.
Coleman moved it on the floor.
Thank you, David. Do I have a second?
Tyson, second.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Greg, go right ahead and put it up on the screen or talk us through it.
Okay, we are proposing a development plan for properties that are currently owned by the Cross family, parcel 8 and parcel 28.01. There is an existing stub street here at Crossway Drive. Our development plan shows a mixture of lot sizes, but a total of 38 homes. 3 homes exist on the property today, so this would be an addition of 35. We are proposing that this development be a gated community. The city of Franklin requires connectivity to Crossway Drive, a stub street to the property directly to the north of us, and a stub street to the properties to the south of us. Our neighbors in Douglas Glen subdivision and Durham Manor requested strongly that we eliminate the southbound potential connection for the future. We're asking for a modification of standards from this requirement from the board, mayor, and alderman with our development plan submittal. We are required by the city of Franklin to request from the Highway Commission a full connection to Crossway Drive. And that's what you're seeing here as option 1. We have a second option, which is to end this street in a cul-de-sac and provide an emergency connection only to Crossway Drive. After meeting with city staff in their design review team meeting yesterday, they are going to recommend that we have a full 52-foot right-of-way and roadway with sidewalks on both sides constructed all the way to the property line. At that point, the emergency connection could begin. So we could gate that for the emergency connection. So not exactly sure on the final design that the city of Franklin is going to require on their side, but we are requesting a recommendation today from the Highway Commission from either option 1, full connection, or option 2, which would be the emergency connection only. We've heard from a few residents in Oakwood Estates, and I know that they're not represented here today, so I'll let you know that it has been their preference that this be an emergency connection and not a full connection. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Mr. Gamble. We've had a motion and a second. I'll open it up for discussion. Mr. Coleman, this is in your area. Would you like to ask the question?
Yes, sir. Just looking at option 2, and we discussed this a few months ago on a piece of property just a little further south on Lewisburg Pike. We denied direct connectivity, and we recommended the emergency exit only, with emergency people having the only access to it on that property. And I would think that we would probably want to go with the same kind of approval here. And again, with the property owners maybe having some input as far as the design, which I believe we approved on the piece a couple of months ago.
Thank you, David. Other comments, David?
I would just say I would not be in favor of full connectivity.
Okay. Other comments? I'll get it right.
Question, sir.
Mr. Tyson?
Yes, I agree with David completely. We got into a lot of discussion on this, on that one that he referenced before. And the solution was pretty simple, was to put the emergency exit there only. That satisfied the people there. It met the requirements for safety. It's available to the people that really need to get through there, but it doesn't run all that traffic through that other subdivision, which is one of the things we were trying to prevent. So I would go heavily in support of number 2.
Thank you. Mr. Hood, let me get the other any other commissioners, Mr. Davis or Mr. Wilson, any comments?
No.
Okay.
No. Wilson, no.
Wilson, no other comments. Eddie, have you got any comments on this or recommendations?
Yeah, I concur with Mr. Cole and Mr. Tyson both. Like David said a few months ago, in the back of Goose Creek Estates with the same situation, and me and Greg has talked about this, but I'm leaning fully support of an emergency access only, and no through road.
All right. Any other comments from anyone else?
Chairman, just a comment. It really doesn't affect the design, but one little bit of difference on this one is they're calling for a gated community. So I would be a little hesitant to say, okay, we're only going to let these residents come into this community, and we're not going to let the residents from Oakview or the other subdivisions come through theirs. So that would just be one more factor in me making my decision.
Good comment, David.
I agree with that.
Thank you,
Roger.
Wilson. Thank you, Stan, Mr. Wilson. So, Greg, we made a motion to get it up on the floor, so I'll ask your representative. I see Mr. Cross in the background there on this call. Jim, are you comfortable with where we're going with this on an emergency exit only?
Yes, we will respect whatever the commission's decision is on this and understand what the comments are. So yes, we're comfortable with it.
Thank you. So, Mr. Coleman, since it's in your area, we just made the motion to get up and hear it. Would you offer a statement that I think the proper word, unless Bobby tells me different, is that we would authorize an emergency exit only, and we'll let all the whistles and bells go with Greg and him. But is that okay with you, David?
Yes, sir. My motion would be that we would accept their recommendation, option number 2, which is the emergency exit only.
Do I have a second on that?
Second, sir. Tyson.
Mr. Tyson seconded it. So we heard the presentation and we're voting on the main motion now. Actually, it's an amendment, I guess. So we'll vote on this and then we'll vote it back on the main motion. Any other questions? Y'all ready to vote on the amendment? We're allowing an emergency exit and egress only, with the understanding as Greg has presented, Jim's comfortable with it. Greg, they'll deal with the design, both on our side and the other side. Ready to
Mr.
vote?
Mayor,
Yes.
one quick clarification for me. The option 2 that we showed may not exactly, the final design may not exactly be what we just showed. I think the city's going to require us to extend a full street section to that intersection right there. So it may not just be a drive as indicated, just so that we have the flexibility to work with the city on that design. But in any case, it'll end up being a emergency access.
I'll go back to the commission with the understanding of what Jim Cross just said. You all comfortable with that, David?
Yes, sir. We would leave the design up to them just as long as we have the emergency exit only.
Okay, thank you.
All right, gentlemen, we're ready to vote on this amendment we made to the main motion. Option number 2, is that correct, Greg? Option number 2.
Correct. Yes.
Option number 2, the emergency exit only. I'll make a roll call. Ready to vote. Here we go. Mr. Tyson.
Tyson votes yes.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Davis votes yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Coleman, yes.
Thank you. And Mr. Wilson.
Wilson, yes.
Anderson votes yes. It passed unanimous. Back to the main motion. This will carry with it on the main motion. We're doing a roll call. It's a formality because we made the motion to hear it. Mr. Tyson.
Tyson votes yes.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Davis, yes.
Mr. Coleman.
Coleman, yes.
And finally, Mr. Wilson.
Wilson, yes.
Anderson votes yes. It passed unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Moving on to the next item on our agenda for the highway meeting this morning is Resolution 10-20-3, resolution accepting roads in Bell Pond subdivision as a part of the county road system for maintenance for the county highway department located off of State Route 11, Nolensville. This is in Commissioner Wilson's district and our county commissioner Lathers and Little. I'll entertain a motion to get it up on the floor, Mr. Wilson.
Wilson so moves.
Do I have a second?
Tyson yes.
Thank you. Explanation, Mr. Hood?
Yes, sir. This is the resolution that followed the report last month. I recommend approval. I'm comfortable with this road. Recommend approval.
Thank you. Mr. Andrews?
Recommend approval.
All right. Anyone else got a comment? And we're ready to vote on Resolution 10-20-3. As I do the roll call, please indicate your aye or yay, nay. Mr. Tyson?
Tyson aye.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Davis, aye.
Mr. Coleman?
Coleman, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Wilson?
Wilson, yes.
And Anderson voted yes, so the resolution passed 5-0. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, the last item we have is resolution 10-20-14, resolution authorizing the Williamson County Mayor to execute a proposal with the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation project on State Route 96 East from Wilson Pike to I-840. I think that's in Mr. Wilson's area out there. I'll entertain a motion, please.
Mr. Wilson, reluctantly, yes. I so move.
And do I have a second?
Coleman, second.
Thank you. Who's going to talk on this, Joe or Eddie?
Either I can or Joe, either one of us.
Go ahead, Eddie. You've got the mic.
What this is something PDOT, this county does all the time. If they're gonna improve one of their roads, which is 96, they always come from the highway board and the full commission we accept what they're going to do to the road, because it affects a lot of our roads that joins into 96. This is normal, and I'm very comfortable with this, so I recommend approval.
Thank you, Eddie. Before I turn the mic over to questions, it's from Wilson Pike to 840 is a long way. Is that all of their work they're doing on the highway, state highway there? Is that what we're saying here?
Yes, I see. They let the bid out for Arnold Road to Wilson Pike this past year. I believe bulk material was awarded that bid. This is the other section from Wilson Pike to 840. So this will involve right-of-ways and all that good stuff before they go any further with this.
Okay. Questions from the Highway Commission? I don't see. You ready to vote? Recommendation has been made by our superintendent. So we will vote. Mr. Tyson.
Tyson votes yes.
Thank you. Mr. Davis.
Davis, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman.
Coleman, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Wilson, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Anderson votes aye. So the resolution 10-2014 passed unanimously by the Highway Commission. We'll go around and do our Highway Commission reports. I'll start this time by Mr. Wilson. I'll go in reverse order this time. Charles, what's going on?
Well, we have some ongoing issues in Hidden Valley that I'm pretty sure will be resolved by the end of the week. Other than that, everything else seems to be okay, except one pothole, and I think Eddie's taking care of that. So.
All right. I see on here, before I go on to the others, I see Jerry Rainey on here. Jerry, are you on here for a particular thing, or is that subdivision why you're on here?
Well, I'm just listening. That subdivision is in my area, and I'm working very closely with Mr. Wilson on that.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Mr. Coleman, any comments from Thompson Station in your district?
No, sir, everything seems to be going well down here. I guess everybody's staying home, so we're doing fine.
Mr. Davis, any comments from your neck of the woods out there?
Just the guys doing a great job on the Johnson grass.
All right. And Mr. Tyson, representing the Grassland area from nearby the rec center. Any comments on your part?
None that I know of, sir.
All right. We'll move on to the superintendent's report.
We've just been paving real busy here this summer. And like Wayne said earlier, we're finally kind of getting our hand on this grass cutting, because all the rain we had this past year, it was hard to keep up with all what the Johnson grass was growing, but we had a few days where it have not rained. That really has helped us out, but had another busy year and still got a lot of work to do. But my guy doing a great job, and I just appreciate what all they do up here.
They do a great job. Eddie, just for my comfortability, the nights are getting cooler, so that means fall is here, winter will be here. Do we have plenty of salt?
We got plenty of salt, and we actually done we buy salt from the state. They deliver it up here. So we put in for an additional 2,000 ton if needed for this upcoming winter season.
All right.
We're good to go on the salt, though.
That's great. Mr. Coleman, you did yours. Mr. Davis, you did yours. Mr. Tyson did yours. Any other comments from Anyone, any issues from legal? Bobby?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks for being on here, Bobby. I understand you and Diane both are on vacation, so it's a shame that Jeff Mosley can't find somebody to sit in for you. You got to come in out of vacation.
It's okay.
Mayor Anderson?
Yeah.
This is Commissioner Herbert. I just wanted to make a comment. I wanted to thank the Highway Department for what an excellent job they do. Anytime I have a citizen call me with a concern or needs some, like a gully cleaned out, they get on it, I mean, just so quick, and they're great on trimming the sides of the road. I just can't say enough about how good the Highway Department does. I just wanted to make that remark.
Thank you, Commissioner. We do have some great men, and I always have to include Elaine in that too. That we have a great crew out there with good supervision. Thank you for your comment. Anything else, gentlemen or ladies or gentlemen, to come before us?
That's all.
So let me kind of give you a heads up. Our executive order does carry us through the end of this month, October, as far as having electronic meetings. If you're wondering if we're going to have a electronic meeting or if we're going to meet in person, that final decision is not left up to me or anyone here. It is left up by the governor if he elects to extend the executive order. We are planning to, in November, to meet electronically. We feel like we'll get one more month, maybe 2 more months out of this, but there's no guarantee in that at this moment. So if you're wondering where you're going to be at that particular time, we'll just have to wait and see if the governor extends that order for us. Anything else?
Roger, Tyson, has
Yes.
there been a decision made on the Veterans Parade? November?
So as of last week, Stan, the city is trying to come up with something on 11/11 at 11. And unless the social distancing presents a problem, as you would imagine, in a parade. And that final decision has not been made by the city. I know Diane's on here. She's talked to the personnel down there. They're trying to figure out something, but that final decision has not been made. Diane, is that correct, or is anything that changed on that?
They have made the decision, sir, to have a reverse parade on November the 11th at Harlansdale Farms. The veterans will be seated along the roadways in Harlansdale Farms, and the public will be allowed to drive through Harlansdale Farms and wave and give their signs of appreciation to the veterans, weather permitting. So they are planning for the November 11th parade at Harlansdale Farms with the veterans seated alongside the roadways and the public participating by driving through. So the veterans will be stationary and the public will be passing through.
Okay.
Other questions? Thank you, Diane. Other questions? Comments? Well, if you're bored on Monday, it's Columbus Day. And if you're bored, you can watch the county commission meeting. Give you some excitement. If you really got nothing to do tomorrow night, you can watch the planning commission meeting. That is going to be a very lengthy meeting. Joe's on here, and several of the others will be watching it. And I think Diane's actually involved in that one too. We're kind of short-staffed around here right now. Anything else? Is it good to the cause? Well, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you being with us and appreciate the preparedness that each of you done, and to Elaine and Eddie for always getting this out and setting it up. We thank Jamie and Diane for jumping on here on her day off. We'll sign off and I'll entertain a motion. And David, did I hear you say that?
I think you did.
And I believe I heard Mr. Tyson say second.
All those.
Thank you all. So sign off now. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.